I should add to yesterday's video on Ag Talk and Raw, and I haven't posted it yet, but it's going to be posted. I'm going to post quite close together. Is that farming is not glitzy, it's not glamorous. It is a passion that everybody that farms has, and if you don't have that passion, you won't be farming long. There's a lot of people out there that think that farming is, you know, a basket full of money at the end of every harvest season, which it isn't. And there are some young people that are in their 20s, possibly mid to low 30s, that haven't seen a bad time yet. There's lean times and there's good times, but bad times I've been through. And I'm not talking with just markets and things like that. I'm talking a whole host of different things, like family members dying unexpectedly, insurance policies not covering things that you felt that they should have, i.e. a tractor that burns or worse. The markets being bad, selling, poor marketing strategy where you sell your grain at lower than cash price and a substantially lower than cash price. Having a hailstorm come through and wipe out soybean fields, and you can't get your contract filled, and then being sued by Purdue. That happened to me. I don't think I've ever told the story, but it did happen to me. It seemed like I was the only guy that had soybean fields completely shredded down by hail in 2005 or 6 and 7 or 8. It was in there, 6 or 7, 2006 or 7, and just completely shredded. And I got sued by Purdue because I couldn't fill the contract. It didn't cost me anything because I told them that if they wanted to get blood from a stone, they better go to a quarry because they're not going to get it from me. And finally, it was a whole other story. But this is what farming is about a lot of times, unless you're hiring drivers, and that is getting behind the wheel of a semi-truck and delivering your products. At least here for me it is. And no matter what I need or do, or what I need to purchase or I need to sell, deliver or pick up, is generally 100 to 120 miles from the farm, right? So 100 to 120 miles from the farm. My lime that I've been picking up is 74 miles away from the farm. There is a closer route, but it takes twice as long because it's all back county roads. And I just don't like stoplights. It will actually take me almost 3 hours to go 64 miles. It's 10 miles closer. Or I just get on the highways and go the hour and 34 minutes, which generally is less than that because the speed limits in New Jersey say 65, but for the most part they're 75, 80. And with a semi, you really don't want to go much over 70, but 65 to 70 mile an hour. So I do that, but it's a long ways. So yes, that's farming. It's you know, it is what it is. I can hire somebody to bring the lime to me. I go and pick it up for $10 a ton, and probably, I don't know, $5 a ton to haul it down here. Probably not even. Yeah, $5 a ton to haul it in fuel, wear and tear. $5 a ton to go that 74 mile. So you'd say $15 a ton, and or I pay somebody to bring it here for $30+ a ton. $30+ a ton. It was $30 a ton in July. It's more than that now. I think it's $35 a ton. So more than double a ton for lime, and then I got to spread it. So there you go. It is generally farming YouTubers like myself will show the highlights. The lowlights are not good. Nobody wants to hear somebody whine and complain about the amount of money that it costs, or the hours that are put behind a wheel, and the hundreds of thousands of miles that we drive to make a living, whereas maybe in the Midwest or just west of us by a few, you know, that 100 miles, you only have to go 5 miles to get to a grain elevator or a feed mill or whatnot to get your crop sold. Here in New Jersey, there's really not much. There's a few places in New Jersey you can take your grain to, and they'll buy it, and you only have to go maybe 10-15 miles. That's fine, but they don't pay what it is 100 miles away by 50-60 cents a bushel, and then they deliver it for their 30 cents. Coming through there. See how fast he goes. Where it needs to be. Alright, I hope you can see what I gotta do here. It's not difficult. Anyway. Yeah, they're supposed to be bringing us some fresh stuff in tomorrow. This is older material. The nice thing about older material is there's less fluff in it. The not so nice thing about older material is that it's heavier and I can't get as much on, and I'm not going to be using this stuff until I won't be using this stuff until next spring anyway, so it's not really a concern of mine whether it's fresh or not so much. Let's count these out. I need to get at least, I took the bands out. Yeah, a couple of months ago. The other thing with this stuff is that it is just so god-awful sticky. But a couple of months ago, there was a guy came in with a brand new trailer, and on his first load, he took the big loader that they have. And when I say a big loader, I mean a big loader. Big military loader, and he smashed the sides of his trailer, brand new trailer, just trashed it. And they said that he hadn't been in since, so apparently he was embarrassed enough that he didn't want to come in again. Yeah, but hey, what are you gonna do? You know, this damn thing's almost out of fuel. We should probably get some fuel in it, because if it's almost out of fuel now, I hope I can get my load, because it'll just flat out piss me off if I run this thing out of fuel and I'm not loaded. It's a high possibility with this place. Nobody takes care of anything down here because they just don't care. Like I said, this stuff is sticky. The older it gets, the stickier it is. But yeah, I mean, I've bent the bands up on the top, or the hoops up on the top with the loaders. They are easily straightened out, but for the limestone quarry, I decided that I would just go ahead and take them out, and that's okay. It's harder on the tarp, but for the most part, it ain't the end of the freaking world. So yeah. These guys that run these loaders, these truck drivers that come in here, they're not loader operators, they're not farmers, they're just guys that are truck drivers for the nurseries, or the, well, I should say nurseries, or what the hell you want to call them. Not nurseries, but stone places. Yeah, lawn and garden stores. There, I hit my trailer. So I hit the trailer now. But that's okay, you can hit it a little bit, it ain't gonna make much of a difference. That's 3, right? So you do 3 in the front, then 4 in the middle, and 3 in the back, and I should have a full load of 80,000. I don't like going overloaded with this stuff, you know, because at least at this time of day, because Philadelphia's a bit of a pain in the ass to navigate through, and that rush hour traffic can really ruin your day. They've got a berm in the middle of this damn thing. What a pain in the neck that is. Hope I didn't hurt the trailer. I just tapped it, you know. Could have went a little closer. We had another loader, and it was finally retired. They finally retired it because it was just horrible. And when I say horrible, I'm not kidding you. When I say horrible, I mean that thing was just an absolute nightmare. It had no tires on it. There was zero tread, and if it would get a little slimy here on this ramp, it wouldn't go. It really just would not go. I hope my boy is doing okay here. The little guy's in the cab and he likes to get out of his seat. Number 2. I wish there was a scale on this thing. This thing needs both fuel and exhaust fluid. Good. And what I'll do is tomorrow I'll go and get some wine. So this is just another day in agriculture, really. Yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't see on other channels or any channel or even my channel that goes on unless we want them to. You know, and I think everybody should understand and realize that we only show what we want to show. I show more of the inner workings, I guess. I don't just show the planting, the fertilizing, the nonsensical crap that doesn't really count in the real world. You know, if I break a tractor, I break a tractor and I fix it. I don't call up the dealer unless something's really bad. And if something is really bad, I will call a dealer. You know, I mean, like, hey, I'm stumped on this thing. And usually when I call and I'm stumped on something, they're like, oh crap, because they know that I know what the hell I'm doing most of the time. Some of the time I muddle through and figure it out on the way, but that's how most good mechanics are. We're not just parts hangers. So, and if you've never dealt with a dealer coming out and fixing a piece of modern equipment, I mean anything with a computer, I would say 10 series and up. The aught series, not so much. Those were just controllers. There was a computer on board, but they were so simplistic. You didn't even need a computer. You would just move a fuse to the diagnostic, and then you would use the blinker turn signal and high and low beam function to go through the computer. You really didn't need to plug in until the you know, even the 10 series was like that. I don't know about in the 8000, but the 7010 series were definitely that analog system. The 20 series, you can still muddle through that way, but I do believe there's a port where you can plug in. The 30s and the R series, you definitely have to plug in to read the computers. So whenever you have a technician come out, first thing they do is pull the computer out, plug it in, see what's going on, what is going on, and they'll sit there for an hour to an hour and a half sifting through the codes, trying to figure out why it threw those codes, when honestly all that information is out on Google and you can do the same thing. It's pretty simple. The tractor will tell you what its problem is or what is going on, and you have to use your brain a little bit to figure it out. And if you are stumped, it's okay to call the service department and say, hey, look, this is what I got. I'm not seeing any parts manual for this. And they will tell you, well, we don't support that. We actually pull that transmission out and send it to the company that built the transmission so that we don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's what I'm dealing with the 6210R. And you're going to see some really good video series on that, because I'm going to tear into that thing pretty soon. I'm going to have multiple cameras in the shop, just because
It's going to be probably a 20-part video series where some of you are going to be bored half to death about, but some of you may or may not enjoy it. So that's coming too. But that's actual reality. Most farms do a lot of their own maintenance stuff. Some of them don't. I mean, there's guys out there that buy a new piece of equipment and the dealer is the one that changes the oil and checks the tire pressure. And there are people like that. Actually, and I'm not going to misquote him, but Jeff Raymond, I think it's got a D. I think you say the D at the end. It's not silent. It's not Raymond, but it's Raymond. He said that he won't do much more than a filter change and an oil change. That's it. Everything else is done by the dealer, which, hey, you know what? If you don't have the knowledge and the know how to do it, or you feel that it is beyond your capable, your capacity, not that Jeff is not capable or have the capacity, maybe he just doesn't feel that he needs to do that, and I'm okay with that. I don't criticize people for that stuff. I mean, if you can't do it, you can't do it. What drives me nuts is when you see a guy and he's in his BMW alongside the road and he doesn't know how to change a tire. Those are not men. I had a conversation with an artist here in New Jersey. She has a art studio in New Hope, or Hopewell, and I don't know, I was introduced to her through another friend, and we don't talk or anything. It's Facebook posts and stuff like that, and she posted these pictures of these lovely men, and I said, those aren't men. Those are boys that are dressed up fancy like and couldn't even change a tire or defend themselves. Well, maybe they could defend themselves, but honestly, they couldn't do a man thing if they tried. And it's not because they're not capable, it's because it's beneath them. And I had a conversation. She says, well, I've seen a lot of men in the city that are very manly and dressed this way. I was like, okay, what defines a man? I mean, we don't have to have dirt under our fingernails. Actually, mine are pretty clean today. I actually need to trim them, but there's some dirt under my fingernails. And honestly, we don't have to have dirt under our fingernails to be a man. Most of us don't. To be a man, it means to take care of the people that we love, to be a good provider, to be the rock in the relationship, and the person that you can count on to keep their family clothed, safe, fed, and to do whatever it takes to raise their children. If you don't qualify for any of those things, you're not a man. You're just a boy. A grown-up boy. And unfortunately, there's a lot of grown-up boys in this society due to the lack of a real father figure. And there are a few people that need a father figure to say, hey, dumbass, but that's insensitive. I had somebody correct me for calling my son William silly. He's a silly little boy. He runs around like a silly little boy. He's a silly little boy. I can call him a silly little boy, and he knows it. And he's just full of piss and vinegar, and I love watching him grow. But for somebody to come on and say, you're doing it wrong, either you've never done it or you were raised by your mother, and your father was absent. And, fathers are real men, or fathers are there to keep their kids straight. Straighten them out when they're crooked. They're acting like fools, tell them about it. If you don't tell them about it, how are they going to know? Mom's not going to tell them they're fools. She'll just come at you with a I don't know. I'm not going to say, when your father gets home. Yeah, when your father gets home. A little bit of fear in a child's life. A little fear of their father in a child's life is good. A fear of a mother is very rare. I do know my driver, he feared his mother a little bit, but I can imagine she'd kick his ass. But funny guy. My driver, he's funny. Lewis is a great guy. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I kind of did.